bright lights, the big city, the city of high rollers that is Las Vegas. Hey, I'm Scotty J. Welcome back to a very special Trailer Trash TV. After the last episode, unfortunately, security hauled me out of the city, gave me a very, very nice escort out to the outskirts of Las Vegas, told me never to come back. So, well, this is the best we can do. My apologies, but I'm still having fun with this. I'm going to run with it. So, with that said, we're going to launch right into our first block of trailers. Continuing on the heels of last week's show with the Hitchcock block, as it were. We're going to start this week with 1948's Rope, followed by Under Capricorn from 1949, and ending this block with Dial M for Murder, probably one of my favorite Hitchcock films of the early Hitchcock from 1954. So stay tuned, check these out, and we'll be right back.
I just think we ought to wait till after you graduate.
I don't.
It's only a month.
Janet, a month?
Please.
It's all right. I personally consider us engaged as of now. Congratulations.
David, no.
Look, you can say yes in a taxi. I have a 2:30 appointment and you're...
I'm staying right here.
Oh? Afraid you'll say yes?
I'll see you tonight at Brandon's party.
Okay. You can say yes there just as well as in a taxi. Goodbye, darling.
Bye.
That's the last time she ever saw him alive. And that's the last time you'll ever see him alive. What happened to David Kentley changed my life completely, and the lives of 7 others. Janet Walker, Henry Kentley, the boy's father, his aunt, Mrs. Atwater, his best friend, Kenneth Lawrence, a housekeeper named Mrs. Wilson, and the 2 who were responsible for everything, Brandon Shaw and Philip Morgan.
Under Capricorn, starring Ingrid Bergman, Joseph Cotton, Michael Wilding, Margaret Leighton.
Hope you haven't been giving too much thought to what I said about Miss Day and her ladyship in her bedroom. I'm sure it wasn't her fault. She wasn't what you'd call responsible at the time. I know she wasn't, because she had half her clothes off and didn't seem to notice.
I wouldn't go in there, Sam. I tell you, she's had a triumph. You mustn't spoil it. Spoil it? I see. I'm not good enough to stand beside my wife when she's with the quality. Don't be ridiculous, Sam. You aren't even dressed for a ball.
Sam. Oh, what a shock you gave me. Right. Sir Richard, may I present my husband? Oh, we're talking about horses. I was telling His Excellency
that I was brought up in a stable. I heard you. Well, my money's as good as the next man's. The compliments of Mr. Sampson Plusky, Esquire. It'll pay for my wife's supper.
Under Capricorn, the story of a strange and fascinating woman and the 2 men in her life.
You bloody murdering Jack!
Bergman, beautiful, tortured.
Sam! Sam!
What's the matter? What is it?
Have you sent this woman here to kill me?
The New York Times called it tingling with excitement.
The Detroit News said it's the best crime play in years.
The London Daily Mail headlined, "A murder thriller with a difference."
The New York Daily Mirror wrote, "It holds your attention like a vice."
Where's the nearest police station?
What could you tell them?
I should simply tell them that you're trying to blackmail me into murdering your wife.
Fantastic, isn't it? But you know he's right, don't you, Tony? You've worked it out to the smallest detail. And this man is to be your murder weapon for the perfect crime. And you, Margot, you've been living dangerously, too dangerously. A married woman with a two-party line to your affections. And Mark, ironic, isn't it? That in this design for death, you should be selected to be the perfect alibi for the murder of the woman you love.
Are you ever going to tell me about us?
No. I couldn't possibly tell him. Not now.
There is evidence, however, that he was blackmailing you.
Blackmail? Yes, I'm afraid it's true, Tony.
And you suggest that he came in by the window. And we know that he came in by that door.
But he can't have come in that way. That door was locked.
You could have let him in.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, you know what? Having been to the Vegas Strip for the very, very, very first time in my entire 39 years on this planet, I gotta say, it was a blast. You know, I gotta give hats off to the Stratosphere Hotel staff, both management and staff, for their hospitality and letting me in the door and treating me with a lot of respect. And as a first-time visitor, I don't felt I was taken advantage of. And it was a lot of fun. It's amazing how much fun you can have in Vegas if you're not pulling that handle, so to speak. So, thanks again for everything, guys. And on the heels of last week's show with the Hitchcock block, where we were talking about 1948's Rope, Under Capricorn from 1949, Dial M for Murder. Hitchcock was truly the master of suspense. There's not a whole lot of movies of this style being done now. You know, with just relying on simply the mood and the shadows, the light and the shadows, setting the tension, relying on the actors more than the effects. So with that said, we're going to take a break, and we're going to take a fun look back at the birth of the motion picture, if you will. Stay tuned.
Lady Kazan.
I get a warm romantic motion when you use aqua velvet lotion. That's how our romance began. because there's something about an aqua velva man.
Men, put it on. Aqua Velva with humectant. It's so good for your face. And, oh, that manly fragrance. Aqua Velva. Put it on.
This summer, you can sleep comfortably as simply as this, with a lightweight, compact Westinghouse air conditioner. After attaching the mounting bracket, which takes only minutes, it's a cinch to install. Plugs into any outlet and starts cooling in seconds. I'm Frank Gifford, suggesting you compare air conditioner features before you buy. Compare the way this Westinghouse keeps out bugs, dirt, and drafts. These tough Mylar sides give you a perfect weather seal. Compare to see if other air conditioners are as quiet as this Westinghouse, so you can sleep soundly. Compare compactness, quietness, protection against dirt and drafts. You will buy Westinghouse. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
Is one of the young stars, strictly up to date. You wouldn't expect him to use an old-fashioned hair tonic. And you're right. He goes for New Blue Venture. It's the new fashioned liquid. A lot more subtle, really natural.
With Venture, you look like you don't need a hairdressing, instead of like you just used one.
Venture is so natural you look like you don't need a hairdressing, instead of like you just used one. New Blue Venture.
All right, before I go any further, I got some, my usual dose of shout-outs to give. First of all, I got to give a big shout-out to the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce for helping me out with the background this time around. It's still weird. I had a comment on something here. While I was in Las Vegas, they've got this whole what happened to Vegas stays in Vegas now. But yet at the same time, I saw a lot of full families out there. I saw a lot of kids out there. And the thing that behooves me, with this new marketing campaign that Vegas has got, how do you explain to your kids that whole idea? What happens if anyway, they try to keep it family friendly now, which I think goes against the entire grain of what Las Vegas truly is. But, that's just my 2 cents. So therefore, I'm going to just shut up about that and get on with the shout outs. And by all means, let me know what you think. www.trailertrashtv.150m.com is the website. And through there, you can email me at sjtrailertrash@yahoo. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what you think of maybe just the Vegas episodes in general. I give a big shout out to both Mike and Dave that I ran into out in Vegas that were maybe not by coincidence, residents of Maple Grove, Minnesota, who have been loyal viewers for quite some time now. It was quite a shock and quite a surprise running into some locals as it were out there. So with that said, we're going to kick into the birth of Hollywood, as I like to call this block. 1927. Many consider it the birth of the talking picture. The reason I say that, and I'll talk about this more when we come back, we're going to launch into the full-length 7-minute trailer from 1927, Al Jolson's original jazz singer. So with that said, stay tuned. We'll be back to chat about it right after this.
Here is some very rare footage of the very first trailer that was made for the very first talkie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am privileged to say a few words to you in this most modern and novel manner. privilege because it's the first living Vitaphone announcement ever made announcing the coming of one of the year's outstanding pictures. What is the picture? Oh, well, of course. You've guessed that I'm referring to Warner Brothers' supreme triumph, Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer, with May McAvoy and Warner Olin, and a superb cast directed by Alan Crosland. And it was taken from the play written by Samson Raffleson. Now, this picture, with Vitaphone accompaniment, and Al Jolson singing many of his songs in his own inimitable manner, is a big hit in New York, to such an extent that Warner Brothers Theater in New York City, where the Jazz Singer is now playing, is sold out for many weeks in advance. Now, I'm going to show you how they were trying to get in to see the opening performance of the Jazz Singer in New York City.
The style seems a little crude and amateurish, but audiences sat in disbelief. They were actually hearing someone speak as he moved his lips. Let's listen in now as the host describes opening night and hear the excitement in his voice. And even he seems to be caught up in the new technology.
Ah, there we have Jesse Lasky and Morris Gett and his wife. And Joe Skank with the bowler. And Louis Silvers. He's the chap who wrote the score for the Jazz Singer. And there's Herbert Brennan, the great, yes, the chap with the cane. Oh, and there's Lou Cody. And Harry Wardell, America's favorite soprano. And there's Buster Collier, yeah, oh, Buster's little bashful. And Lita Gray Chaplin. Who's this? Oh, that looks like Irving Berlin with the glasses there, is it? And there's Ben Burney and his jazz band. Ben came out. Oh, and here's Johnny Hines. Oh, hot beat boy. Go right after it. Attaboy, Johnny. Huh? Going right in. Now, and Al Jolson himself. Oh, boy, Al. You sure have your face tonight, huh? And we even have a talk. They're always there. How do you like that crowd? Well, tremendous opening, wasn't it? Now, I'm going to show you a few scenes of what the crowd saw on the inside of the theater.
Some of the stars of yesterday might not be familiar to us, but to the audience in 1927, they were witnessing an event like never before. Although The Jazz Singer was considered the first talkie, most of the movie is still silent. The songs were recorded before, and in only a couple of sequences do we actually hear people talk. The melodramatic story about the conflict between family traditions and theater life has been redone many times since, but the story is still compelling.
Well, how do you like that? Huh? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet, brothers and sisters, as Al himself would put it. You, know that little scene you just saw there? Well, that was the inspiration for the theme song of Mother O' Mine, which runs all through the picture. It was written by Al and Lou Silvers. Now, I'm going to let you see a few more scenes of The Jazz Singer.
The plot of the film was actually derived from Al Jolson's own life story. He introduced songs into the film that he had already done on stage. And although he was a huge vaudeville star at the time, the jazz singer would be his greatest personal triumph. Many critics in 1927 felt that sound would deal a death blow to the art of films. At that time, filmmakers were content to merely photograph stage plays. But sound played an important part in the movie, and the talkie era was here to stay.
Well, it was great, wasn't it? Now, these few little scenes that you have just seen only give you a vague idea of the rare treat that is in store for you when America's foremost entertainer makes his appearance here in the Jazz Singer. And at that time, you are not only going to have the opportunity of seeing Mr. Jolson, but through this marvelous invention, Vitaphone, you are also going to be able to hear him talk as well as sing. And, oh, Meme, how that bird can warble. And now, I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but don't forget, at this theater, Al Jolson in the Jazz Singer. Good night.
I'd walk 1,000,000 miles for one of your smiles from my man.
Jazz Singer from 1927. Groundbreaking in so many ways, let alone the birth of the first full-length talking motion picture and launching a whole new inception of filmmaking in Hollywood itself. You know, shortly on the heels of this, MGM launched its string of musicals, and it's never been the same since. You know, it was huge in the birth of motion pictures. So, with that said, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with, well, I mentioned the MGM musicals. We're going to come back with That's Entertainment.
The 1970 Chevrolet Nova is extremely comfortable and has over 2,917 cubic inches of padding. O.J. Simpson is not extremely comfortable and has only 27 cubic inches of padding. Nova has 307 cubic inches of standard V8 engine. O.J. Simpson does not have 307 cubic inches of standard V8 engine. Nova, though small and maneuverable, holds 5 fully grown adults at the same time. O.J. does not hold 5 fully grown adults at the same time. Nova is available in a coupe, a sedan, and an SS version. O.J. Simpson is not available in a coupe, sedan, and an SS version. In conclusion, we think it's fair to say that the 1970 Chevrolet Nova is a lot better automobile than O.J. Simpson. Besides, the Nova costs a lot less to run.
What's up? Dino's stolen the different vitamins we need to make Flintstones. Yabba-dabba-doo, yabba-dabba-doo. Flintstone vitamins are good to chew with vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, and vitamin D. Help your body work and grow right.
We put them all together to make Flintstones vitamins.
Mom, if your kids don't always eat right, one Flintstone each day ensures they're getting the vitamins they may need. Yabba-dabba-doo. Flintstones, regular and plus iron.
When we decided to get a testimonial for Scotty's, we went right to the top.
Achoo! 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 That's what I like about it, Scotty. It's a tree sneezer.
Scotty's, the 3 sneezer.
Welcome back to Trailer Trash TV. I'm still your host, Scotty J, and by all means, I gotta let you know, I've been having so much fun doing this show over the past, God, I lost track of how many years. It's in the 7th season currently, but I can't emphasize enough to utilize the whole concept of public access TV. Get out there, express. If you have a message to send, if you want to share it with the general public, it's a very low-cost way of doing it. You know, print advertising is through the ceiling. Radio advertising is through the ceiling. Obviously, we can't advertise on public access, but you can publicize anything that you want to share at very nominal fee, if not free of charge altogether. So, with that said, we're going to launch into my third block on the heels of The Birth of Hollywood. I mentioned The Birth of the Hollywood musical shortly before the break, and we're going to launch into basically the heyday of the MGM musical with something called That's Entertainment from 1974. There's just so many great things about the MGM musical. I could take an entire show just on the MGM musical itself. The songs, the dance numbers, the music in general. It's, you know, there's not enough to be said. So That's Entertainment from 1974. We'll be back to chat about it right after this.
I was a seasoned performer of 17 when I first worked with Judy Garland. And all I had to do was take one look at this beautiful girl before the cameras, and I knew that she had it. She had that magic.
The stars you're seeing have all returned to MGM, the studio that invented the movie musical. They were a part of an era of entertainment unlike any other the world has ever known.
Let me tell you, for a little girl with a wild imagination, this place was heaven.
I have never seen this.
They're all here for one reason, to join their talents for the first and only time in one motion picture. They've come together in a kind of labor of love. It will never happen again. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the most magnificent movie musicals in all of Hollywood's history, proudly presents the greatest musical of them all.
That's entertainment.
With special appearances by Elizabeth Taylor, Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, James Stewart, Debbie Reynolds, Mickey Rooney, Bing Crosby, Liza Minnelli, Donald O'Connor, Peter Lawford, Frank Sinatra, with Judy Garland, Jane Powell, Clark Gable, Katherine Grayson, Jean Harlow, Joan Crawford. That's entertainment. It's more than a movie, it's a celebration.
Glorious feeling, we're happy again.
You start off by pretending you're a dancer with grace. You wiggle till they're giggling all over the place.
Shout hallelujah, get happy, get ready for your judgment day. Come on, get happy. Your cares away. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Sun is shining, come on, get happy. Lord is waiting to take your hand. Hallelujah, come on, get happy. We're going to the promised land.
On opening nights, your name in lights. Why, we won't stop till you reach the top.
Thump, 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 when my heart strings. When he smiled, I could feel a car shake.
New York, New York, a wonderful town. The Bronx is up and the Battery down. the world of entertainment.
You can wait around and hope, but I'll tell you, you'll never see the likes of this again.
That's entertainment.
Little folks eat cereal in their breakfast bowls each day. Crunchiness to wake 'em gently, nourishment to help them play. Fresh and flaky, crisp and sweet, with milk and sugar, good to eat in their breakfast bowls each day. Big folks eat cereal too. Wheat or corn, oats or rice, start your morning twice as nicely. Let me hear that snap, crackle, pop. Everyone eats cereal. Good morning cereal. In his breakfast bowl, Kellogg's best to you.
Econoline, America's most popular van, makes loading and unloading easy with its many doors and low flat floor. When even bigger load space is needed, sometimes urgently, business executives yearn for the Supervan. The new Ford Supervan holds 23% more, and it's 1.5 feet longer. Packages of unusual size and shape are accommodated, too. Bigger engines, better getaway. Turns on a dime. Anyone looking for a van or supervan should certainly see Ford.
And welcome back to Trailer Trash TV. I'm your host, Scotty J, and we're going to kick right into Classroom Classics this week. And, you know, before I go into it, I've been talking to a few of you, trying to get some input, and I'm still trying to find this this individual, for lack of a better term, that's been looking for me. I don't know what's happening, but
Come on,
what?
let's move on.
What?
Let's go. Let's go.
What did I...
Move on. Move on.
Fine.
Doreen and Dan, the cautious twins, live in our neighborhood. They ask their mother where to play, as all good children should. They tell her who their playmates are, and let her meet them too. For happy tots are careful tots, and they know what to do. One Saturday, Doreen and Dan were called in from their play. They hurried to their mother's call to hear what she would say. She asked them, please go buy some bread, and sent them on their way. She knew they'd go straight there and back, and surely would not stray. So off they went, the cautious twins. They knew the rules to heed. No matter what was offered them, they'd not give in to greed. Most people love a little child. Some grown-ups, though, are bad. The bad ones look like good ones, like any mom or dad. So that is why you must not talk to strangers that you meet. Don't let them give you any toys or anything to eat. If someone that you do not know should offer you a treat, remember how he looks and talks, but run fast up the street. Upon returning from the store, their friends were at the gate. They asked them to the park to play. The twins thought that was great. They'd asked their mother anxiously, they'd really like to go. She told them, yes, be back at noon. You must be prompt, you know.
It's wonderful to play with friends, to run and swing and climb, to slide and yell, and all the while remembering the time. When to the restroom you must go at playground, parks, or zoo, be sure to ask a cautious friend to go along with you. Don't stray away from all your friends toward bushes or the trees. Stay near the crowds, the slide, the swings, and Mother will be pleased. It's time to go. Doreen and Dan start home along the street, each watching cars and signals too. They hurry home to eat. Along the way, a stranger waves just off the avenue. The twins remember Mother's words. They don't forget. Would you? A person may invite you to a house, garage, or shed. Say no to him and run and tell your mother what he said. Doreen and Dan, the cautious twins, run home as good kids do. For home's the very safest place when danger threatens you. Back home at noon, right smack on time. The twins are hungry, say, but better yet, they get to go to the local matinee. Their mother says it's their reward for doing what she asks, remembering rules and helping her with little household tasks. Doreen and Dan are young for shows, that is, to go alone, so Sister Joan will go with them, a sort of chaperone. It's fun to see a movie show with pirates, Indians, kings, but shows are always pretty dark, and bad people may try bad things. So when you go to see a show, if someone touches you, get up and move away from there and tell the usher too. Don't let a stranger pat your hand or straighten up your clothes. Good strangers let a child alone, as everybody knows. And when they left the show for home, they met some friends of Joan. Although she shouldn't, Joan then told the twins to go on home alone. Doreen and Dan walked on their way. They promised not to roam. A man walked up to them and said he'd come to take them home. If someone tells you he was sent to take you home to Dad, skedaddle away as fast as you can. Perhaps that man is bad. Don't go away with him at all, although he asks you to. If he should grab you, scream so loud that help will come to you. Now that was close, too close for sure. That really was a fright. They had to hurry on their way, for it was almost night. A car drove up, and in it was the cutest puppy dog. The man said, "Come and see my pet." And Dan was all agog. Doreen recalled the rule for this. Then Dan remembered too. If you should see a dog like this, would you remember too? If someone in a motor car should offer you a ride, scream loudly as you run away, but do not get inside. If you can read the license plate, repeat it in your mind, or write it down upon the ground with anything you find. But look where this had left the twins. The alley looked real great. Should they go through and get home fast? It's growing dark and late. But Mother's words came to their mind, and though they'd like to go, they knew that this was time to stop, the best time to say no. It's never safe in alleys or empty buildings, too. It's always best to travel where Mother tells you to. So even though the sun was low, they went the longer way. For safety first, they knew was best at any time of day. And since they learned so very well these lessons, every one, here they are, all safe and sound, to share the family fun. And so you see, Doreen and Dan knew all the things to do. They practiced all the rules they learned. Would you? And you? And you?
Route 99 at Broadway, 10:43 p.m. Visibility poor. Road wet. One killed, one severely injured. A split second of impact. A lifetime wasted. Gene Crowley, 22. Engaged to be married.
Let's see what happened to Gene. Using a model,
Dr. Alan Nahum of the University of California at Los Angeles diagrams the injuries. Jean didn't have her seatbelt fastened. When the car was stopped by the impact, Jean wasn't. She was cut and sliced by the collaring effect of the shattered windshield. Expensive cosmetic surgery can help, but she will never be the same again. She was a pretty girl. The accident probably wouldn't have happened by daylight. The hazards of daytime driving are multiplied in the blackness of an unknown that surrounds the limited tunnel of sight created by your headlights. What causes so many nighttime collisions? The number one problem is visibility. There's truth in the saying, the difference between night and day. By day, notice how far and how much you can see. As it gets darker, details disappear. Night driving, first of all, means reduced visibility. Yet sight is the primary sense we must depend upon when driving. So what influences our ability to see at night? When the intensity of light changes, a reflex occurs within the pupils of your eyes. The action opens and closes the iris, controlling the amount of light, falling on a sensitive area at the back of the eyeball, the retina. The amount of light falling on millions of microscopic sight cells gives us a picture. Some people have poor night vision because they don't get enough light to receive a good picture. As we get older, all of us see less well in the dark. Night begins at dusk. And partly because of the heavy traffic at this time, it is one of the most dangerous driving periods. The sky may be light, but surface objects are dark. Your eyes don't readily adjust to the lower light levels. Turn your headlights on early. Keep your eyes moving. Although your lights may not actually help you to see, they will help other drivers see you, and that's important. Because of the reduced light and color contrast, images tend to blend together and become camouflaged. Twilight is the time to slow down. Remember this, correctly adjusted high beams illuminate the road ahead for approximately 350 feet. Low beams cover about 100 feet. So don't overdrive your lights. And what does overdriving your headlights mean? Somewhere along this road is an abandoned car without lights. We are traveling at 50 miles an hour, 73 feet each second. Remember, our high beam lights reveal about 350 feet of roadway. But at this speed, we'll travel 350 feet in only 5 seconds. Once we pick out that stalled car, can we react and stop in time? burned rubber for almost 150 feet. But our momentum was too great, especially since we used 55 feet reacting to the situation. But here's the clincher. We would have been able to stop if we'd been traveling just 5 or 10 miles slower. Overdriving our headlights was the difference. Moral, slow down at night. Travel at a speed that will permit you to stop within the distance you can see. When a dirty windshield or headlight lenses reduce your sight distance, clean them. Bad weather in itself reduces sight distance. Rain is a limiting factor. Slow down. Fog complicates the visibility situation in varying degrees. At times, snow is impossible. When conditions are this hazardous, when you can barely see the shoulder, signs, or signals, it's time to get off the road. If you can't see these guideposts, you've driven too far. When you have trouble, get well off the road. Passing traffic is hazardous. Turn on your parking lights. If your car is so equipped, start your four-way flashers. As advance warning, set out a flashing battery light. If you're not wearing something light, carry a handkerchief. Headlights pick up the lighter objects. Flares are easy to light in any weather. You may be delayed longer than the life of the flare, so have replacements ready. If you have to walk for aid, carry a flashlight. Flash it at the oncoming cars and walk facing the traffic. 70% of all pedestrian fatalities happen at night. People are difficult to see. Expert drivers agree that headlights work two ways. They can be one of your greatest hazards. Lloyd L. Bennett Trucking Association Line Driver of the Year has logged over 6.5 million miles without an accident.
Glaring headlights sure bug me. Not just those ahead. Look at that guy riding my tail. The high beams blind you. When you're following a car by 300 feet or less, it's common courtesy to dim your lights. You don't need the bright ones.
The law says you must dim your... Force yourself to keep your eye in a darker area at the right side of the road. The courtesy may be one-sided, but at least you'll be able to see after you've passed. Staring at bright headlights can blind you for up to 7 seconds. At 50 miles an hour, you travel 511 feet in 7 seconds. Who can drive this distance safely, blind? You're driving along a country road. The night is dark. Oncoming lights blind you. The driver barrels on through. How long did it take you to spot the disabled car? Again, a self-centered road hog. And once more, a near miss. Of course, you're never so dangerously blind as when you're asleep. And drowsiness can be caused by eye strain, smoking, alcohol, even if it doesn't put you to sleep. Then there is a kind of hypnosis that develops, watching the endless miles unreal ahead. If it is a long night trip, give yourself a break. Get out and stretch. Or quit and go to bed. Otherwise, you may never wake up. You'll be dead. You must be able to see in order to drive. Visibility is all important. Turn your headlights on early so you can be seen. Slow down. Don't overdrive your headlights. You help yourself as well as the other driver when you dim your lights, both in meeting and overtaking the other vehicle. Courtesy is contagious. Flares and a flashlight should be standard equipment. The related problem of visibility. When the weather's this bad, ask yourself, is this trip really necessary? Don't overdrive the situation, day or night. Night and your lights are limiting factors. Drive so that you can react and act safely within the distance you can see. Night driving need not be a problem. It is different. Your key to better, safer night driving is visibility.